How's everyone doing? Yeah! Have you guys been enjoying the Galaxy Creator Collective? Oh, come on, I need some more energy than that. Yes! It's been an incredible 2 days, and it's been an honor to meet so many of you and to be here speaking at this event. So before I jump into it, quick show of hands. Raise your hand if before this entire experience, this is the first time you are hearing anything about me. Oh man, that hurts. Well, again, my name is Rose Carlin. I am the founder and CEO of Women in Power X, an author and a speaker. And I can guarantee one thing, that by the end of this talk, I will become unforgettable. And I mean that in the best way. I'm going to show you exactly how you too can become unforgettable by sharing your story. Sharing your story to create a well-known brand. So many people ask me, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to be successful? What do I need to do to start a business, to create a following, to grow online, to achieve my dreams? But instead of asking what you have to do, I'd rather you focus on who you have to be. Because the strategy, the plan, yes, it's important, but it's not the strategy or the plan that's going to lead you to success. It's the person executing that plan. So today, we're going all in on you. As you've seen, there's a million different ways to achieve the success that you want. But the difference between the people that are living their dreams and still trying to figure it out, it's just the person. Anyone can learn the plan, the strategy, and look the tactics and tools up. But it takes the individual to make it happen. So that's what we're going to focus on here today. And my goal is that you walk out of here with, yes, the tools, the strategy, but also the fuel to implement, the fuel to take immediate action and share who you are with the world. And know that you can achieve anything that you desire. Sound good? Yes. All right. So I've been a content creator and an entrepreneur for over 10 years now. And throughout this journey, I've discovered 5 key skills that are imperative to achieve any type of success. And the first one is mindset. Your mindset is so important. I think of like your success as a tree, right? So in order for a tree to grow, the roots have to be planted. Because when the tree gets knocked down, if the roots are not planted, it's never going to grow again. So your mindset, that's the roots. If your mindset is not there, is not strong, and the foundation's not set, when the challenges come, the obstacles come, the failure comes, the rejection, the negative comments online, and you get cut down, it's going to be very hard for you to continue growing. So that's why we start with the mindset. And I know early on, the biggest thing that was going to stop me from achieving the success that I desired was my mindset, because I didn't have confidence in myself. I was so shy, I couldn't even raise my hand in class. And I knew that confidence was imperative to achieve any type of success. So I started a blog online, and that was my first real dive into entrepreneurship and into content creation. And the blog was called Hello Perfect, and we had this mission to redefine perfection. So it wasn't in the back of your mind causing you self-doubt. And during this experience, I got an opportunity to do the social media for a designer at New York Fashion Week. It was like a dream come true. And a while ago, when this happened, I think 2012, they used to have this big party the night leading up to Fashion Week called Fashion's Night Out in Soho. And all the stores would stay open late. They would have on their website all the different things going on, the different celebs that would be part of it. And so I wanted to create a cool campaign to bring my followers along on this journey. And so I created this bucket list. And it was like, how many things can we achieve on this Fashion's Night Out, like during the night? And let's see how we can cross off our bucket list to bring the audience along on the ride. So we get to Soho, and all the streets are so crowded, and every store has lines out the door. And I was like, there's no way we're gonna achieve anything on this bucket list. So when we're trying to fight through the crowds, I pulled my friend and I said, let's go down a different street. We went down this off road and there were models standing outside the Marc Jacobs store. And they were promoting Marc Jacobs' new perfume. And one of the models said, hey, I think Marc Jacobs is stopping by. Now, if anyone doesn't know, Marc Jacobs is a huge fashion designer, and I loved him. And I was like, there's no way. So we went into the store, and I said to my friend, I was like, all right, let's just take one quick swoop around. It was a small store, literally maybe the size of the stage. And I said, we can't just stay here all night. There's no way Marc Jacobs is coming. One, it wasn't on the Fashions Night Out website. And two, it's Marc Jacobs. So, and I said, we have this whole bucket list we need to get to. So we're walking through the store and I get to the back corner and all of a sudden I feel people pushing me. And I turn and Marc Jacobs is making his way behind the counter and he starts signing perfume bottles people are buying. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Marc Jacobs. This is my chance to ask him his definition of perfect, to get him to endorse my blog. That would be huge. I was so nervous, but I knew that this was my only shot and everyone was trying to talk to him. So I went up to him and I shared what my mission was. I shared a little bit of what I was trying to achieve. And then I said, Marc, what's your definition of perfect? And he goes, perfect? What is? I was like, oh, Marc, you're a genius. I didn't say that to him. I was so nervous, but I thanked him and I started to make my way so other people could talk to him. And then he pulls my wrist and stops me. And I turn him back towards him and he puts his hand like this, wrist facing up on the counter. And he's wearing this beautiful button-down long sleeve shirt. And he pulls up his long sleeve. And on his wrist is the tattoo of the word perfect. Of all the words, he had the word that I was trying to redefine tattooed on his wrist for a similar reason, to remind him that whatever he does is perfect in itself. So I said, Marc, can I take a picture of that? And so I stood over him and I'm shaking. I'm so nervous. And all my photos are coming out blurry. Didn't have the S22 Ultra back then. And so I'm taking 15 photos. And then I don't know how I worked up the courage, but I said, can you actually hold your hand like this? And I got a picture of Marc Jacobs literally saying, hello, perfect. And it was amazing. And this experience taught me a very powerful lesson because I was so afraid to talk to him, so afraid to have the courage to share what I was doing with him. And I remember this feeling that I had at that moment that I didn't want to regret that I missed my chance and missed this opportunity. Raise your hand if you've ever felt regret before. Keep your hand up if you like that feeling. Of course not. It's the worst feeling ever. I'd rather try and not succeed than to regret and to have that feeling trying to go to bed at night with that awful feeling of regret. So now every time I'm struck with fear, I say to myself, I fear regret more than I fear failure. I fear regret more than I fear failure. As a content creator, there are opportunities for you to capture certain moments, introduce yourself, go after what you want, pitch yourself to a brand. But it's so easy to get stuck in fear. But you have to take that shot. And this led me to getting definitions from so many different influential people, like Steve Madden, Shaquille O'Neal, Mark Cuban, Rebecca Minkoff. And I started to really build up this momentum. And the more that I asked people their definition of perfect, the more confident I became. And that's when I realized what I just mentioned earlier on the panel is that confidence is a skill. And just like any skill, it can be learned. And the more I repeatedly did this act of getting out of my comfort zone and asking someone their definition of perfect, the more confident I felt. The more knowledge I had around the industry, around what I was trying to solve, the impact I was trying to create, the more confidence I had. So remember that repetition and knowledge breed confidence. And also, confidence is very situational. Just because you may not feel confident on video, say you've been blogging for a long time and now you want to transition to video, that doesn't mean you're not a confident person. It just means in that situation you haven't done it enough times. You know, I'm always afraid. I feel fear all the time. I feel fear right now. And the thing about fear is that we all have fears. Just some people feed them more than others. You have to understand that fear is inevitable. But listening to that fear is a choice. Find the courage to go after it. Feel the fear and do it anyway. I really don't believe there's such a thing as a fearless leader, because as I mentioned, I'm fearful all the time, and I think fear is not a bad thing. I think if you're afraid, that means you care about it. And if you care about it, you're going to be that much more impactful. We need people who care about the work they're doing. So don't think that fear is a symbol or a signal that means you're not ready. It means you care and you should go after it. And I get that it's scary. I mean, I get that, it could be really frightening putting yourself out there. But understand that when you go after it, and if you don't succeed, if there's obstacles that come your way, that's okay, because you can have the power to adapt. And that is the second part on this journey, is you have to be adaptable. There's so many times that challenges come, and we can allow them to stop us, or we can choose to adapt. I mean, it just happened the other week. I was supposed to do Instagram Live for the Unpacked event. I had my camera set up, the lights, the setting. I tested it, Instagram, right before, maybe 30 minutes before. Then 2 minutes before I was about to press the button, Instagram didn't let me go live. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was freaking out a little bit, and there was nothing I could do. I had no control over it. So I adapted and went to a different platform. But as a content creator, we have to be adaptable. I mean, Marilyn said that in her speech yesterday as well. It's this constant thing. We have to know how to adapt, so regardless of what comes, we can continue to thrive forward. And when I was 21 years old, I had the biggest challenge of my entire life. I was in college at the University of Florida, and I was getting ready to celebrate this party. I was celebrating 1,000 likes on Facebook for my blog. Got to celebrate all the wins, yes. And so I was inviting friends from out of town. I even told my mom to come, and she was driving 4 hours to be part of this celebration. And leading up to this event, I wasn't feeling that well. And a few hours before guests were supposed to arrive, I was sitting on my bed in my apartment, and my mom looks down at me, and she sees my heart beating rapidly out of my neck. And I was having a hard time being able to breathe. She's like, Alexa, we're canceling the party. I'm taking you to the emergency room. She drove me to the emergency room, and within moments, they took me in the back because my blood pressure was dropping rapidly. And I remember at first there was 2 to 3 doctors and nurses monitoring me. Then all of a sudden there were 5. And then I remember at one moment I looked around and there were 25 people surrounding me. And one of the doctors takes my mom into a different room, and they said, your daughter's body is going into septic shock. We have to induce her into a medical coma. Call your family. She has 24 hours to live. And this changed my entire life. I was in a coma for 6 days, in the ICU for a total of 10. And it was definitely life-changing. And when I woke up out of the coma, I still had a mask on my face, a tube down my throat, and I was hooked up to 9 different bags of antibiotics. So I couldn't move, breathe, or speak on my own. But I did have my mind. And I remember picturing my mind to be this pure, healthy pink, and the rest of my body was black and rotting away. And I would push this healthy pink color down to the rest of my body to try and heal it with every ounce of energy I had left. Now, I never read this in a book. Intuitively, it was just all I had control over were my thoughts. And once I started to get out of the danger zone, as they called it, I was still in so much physical pain. And I was like, there's no way I can go on another day, let alone an hour, because I'm in so much pain. So I had to do something. So I decided to redirect my thoughts towards something I felt was a small, attainable goal. And at this time, all I wanted was a glass of water, because I couldn't have water because I had this tube down my throat. So I remember picturing myself on my high school track. I don't know why, I never ran track in high school. I tried out, but didn't make the team, unfortunately. But that's the vision that came to me. And at the end of the finish line were my friends and family holding this giant bucket of ice cold water ready to pour down into my mouth. And I just held that vision. I just kept on saying, water at the end of the race. Water at the end of the race. Until I got to the end of the race and I got that glass of water. And the reason I'm sharing this with all of you is because this has been the most impactful lesson I've ever learned along my journey. And that is that you have to focus on the things that you do have control over. How much energy do we give to all the things we have no control over? We don't have control over other people's opinions of us. We don't have control if a brand will say yes to us. We don't have control if people will follow us, will like us, will enjoy our content. But we do have control over how we choose to show up online and offline, who we choose to be. The more that you give your energy to all the things that you don't have control over, not only does it deplete your confidence, but you're also taking away energy from the things that will move the needle forward. It's so important to focus on the things that you do have control over and all the things that you don't adapt. And this took me a very long time to learn. I wish I could just say, yeah, I had this near-death experience. Everything's been uphill since then. But actually, 6 months after I was discharged from the hospital, I was in New York City and I got sick again, a different type of health issue, and I was actually diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And this has been the hardest challenge I've ever had to deal with because it's chronic. It never goes away. I live with fear every single day because I don't know if I'll be healthy enough to do the things I love. I had to move home from New York City back in my parents in my early 20s, and I just felt like all of my dreams were just stolen from me. And I had no control over this. And for a long time, I was waiting to get healthy again, waiting to get the old Alexa back. But after 3 months goes by, 6 months goes by, a year goes by, I got so sick and tired of waiting. And I realized, I'm going to be waiting for a very long time. How many times do we find ourselves in the waiting zone, waiting until we move to a new city, waiting until we get that brand sponsorship, waiting until we have more followers, more resources, more tools, more money? There's always a reason to wait. But if you want to achieve your dreams and goals, you must not wait for your life to change. You must change your own life. You must not wait for your life to change. You must change your own life. So I decided at this moment that this had to happen for me versus to me. I truly believe that things happen for you versus to you if you choose to perceive it that way. So I started to kind of discover my purpose, or what I thought is my purpose. And I said, I want to share my story. I think if I share my story, I can maybe inspire one person to keep on chasing after their dreams, to not give up. But I was too sick to actually leave my house at the time. So I decided to start sharing through live streaming. And I started a live streaming show back in 2014 on Periscope. You guys remember Periscope? On Periscope, so you got to adapt to the different platforms. So I started this show called Morning Motivation with Alexa. I would get on Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and motivate my audience on a specific topic. And I had 10, 15 people that would tune in live. And then it came to a point where I started to not feel well again. And the mornings were the worst. And I was like, I can't go on and motivate these people when I don't even feel motivated. How can I authentically show up? So then I decided, okay, should I wait until I get healthy? But I don't know how long that's going to be. And that's when I decided to be vulnerable. You see, our obstacles can do one of two things. They can hold us back or fuel us forward. And the beautiful part about that is that the decision is up to you. And so I decided to be vulnerable. So I got on live and I said, hey guys, I'm not feeling motivated right now. But this is all this, what I'm dealing with, but I'm still chasing after my dreams. And that's what people related to, and that's what people connected to. And that moment is when I turned my audience into a community, and thousands of people started tuning in live. Like it literally was skyrocket growth just because I was showing up as myself, as what was really happening. And so that's when I realized the power in community. But keep in mind, this is not how I looked early on. That's how I looked early on, wasn't aware of lighting or background, but that's okay. You just have to use what you have. You have to be resourceful and take action anyway. I didn't realize it was going to be a huge screen like this. But that brings to my next point, which is community. And we've actually talked about community a lot. And community is so important. I mean, the more vulnerable I become, the more I create this engaged community. And it's not just about following count, because I've pivoted a lot along my career. My first business was in jewelry, then I was a fashion blogger, then I went to have a vegan, gluten-free cookbook, and then events, and then, a published author now. I've always just continued to stay true with what called my passion, but the message has always been the same: to impact people, to help people achieve their dreams, not give up, turn obstacles into opportunities, and I've always been myself. And because of that, my audience has followed me wherever I went. Didn't matter the platform, didn't matter the place. And really, they bought the bracelets, they bought the cookbook, they bought the event tickets, and I never once said, buy this. I never once went online and said, hey, buy my event ticket and come to my event, or buy my book. All I did was share my story, and that's what they connected to. That's the power in being vulnerable, in really focusing less on audience and more on community. And so there's another part of this that's really important, is the community that you build of support. And right now, right here, we have this amazing community of support, but you have to be vulnerable to really feel connected so you're not so lonely in it, because it could be very lonely. And we're all walking around, feeling so lonely. It's because we're not really sharing who we are. We're sharing what we do. We're sharing what, maybe what we're creating, what's on our resume, what's on our business card. But who are you? That's what's going to help you feel connected. So I have a challenge that we're going to do right now. So I want everyone to please stand up. And we're gonna be careful here. So we're not going to move around too much, but I'm going to play a song. And when the song plays, everyone take out your Samsung phones. And we're going to take as many group, funny, goofy selfies with different people as possible, wherever you are. There's everyone up there too. But this is the key here. I want you to do it with unwavering energy. I want you to have so much energy, like you just saw your best friend in the airport and you guys are running up to each other, jumping into each other's arms. That's the kind of energy I want you to have, because when you create with energy, your audience feels it. Don't focus on the angles, don't focus on the lighting, just have fun. Are you guys ready? Yeah. All right. go back to your seat, but before you sit down, how do you guys feel? Right? You feel the energy in the room is different, right? Okay, wait, before you sit down, we're gonna do one more thing. So, we're gonna take a whole group selfie now, but I'm gonna say something, okay, in the camera, and then you guys are gonna be really quiet, and then when I turn around, you guys are just gonna go crazy and say Team Galaxy. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Okay, so you guys have to be quiet. When I turn around, you guys. Hey everyone, I am at the Samsung Galaxy Creator Collective, and I just met a few creators who have something they want to say. Team Galaxy! Woo! Awesome! Give yourself a round of applause. Amazing. So that's the energy I want you to leave here with. That's the energy I want you to create content with, because it will make a difference. Not only will it make it more enjoyable and more fun, but people can feel energy. Energy is contagious. So I want to make sure that you're building that community with vulnerability. And understand, like, everyone is so focused on the competition or trying to, figure out what's going to work. And if they're doing it, that means I can't do it. Or how do I rise above the noise? The thing about it is that your authenticity is your point of differentiation. When you add who you are and what you do, you will always rise above the noise. That's so powerful. So it doesn't matter. We all could be striving for the same dream. We're going to attract a different audience. And also, there's enough room for all of us to be successful. But you have to be confident in yourself and go after it. And again, I know that can be scary, especially when you're putting your whole self out there. I mean, when I started to get healthy again, and I said, okay, I want to be a public speaker. I want to make an impact with my voice and my story. I started pitching myself to tons of different local organizations. I was living in South Florida at the time, and I pitched myself to 60 different small events. Like, this had 10 women around for a luncheon, and I said, I'll speak for free. I have an inspiring story. And I received 60 letters of rejection. Raise your hand if you've ever been rejected before. It sucks. I mean, it's really defeating. And I sat in that defeat for months. I was like, okay, well, if no one's giving me the opportunity to speak, I guess I can't be a public speaker. But that passion and that fire was still inside of me. And I believe that if you have a dream that keeps you up at night and wakes you up in the morning, it is there for a reason. And it is your job not to ignore it. So then I had this beautiful epiphany moment, and I thought, wait. Why am I putting my dreams in the hands of a stranger? I was saying that I can't be a public speaker because these event organizers weren't giving me an opportunity. Don't ever put your dreams in the hands of a stranger. So I said, you know what? You're not going to let me speak at your event. I'm going to create my own event. And that's what I did. I took action, which is the next step in order to achieve any type of success, is taking action and finding a way. As a creator, as an innovator, as a leader, it is your job to find a way to make it happen. So I started my events, and it was under my blog at the time. My first event, 5 people showed up. And I was like, yes! I get to inspire 5 people today. Because remember, it's always been my mission to make a difference in at least one person's life a day. My next event had 10 people. The next event had 20 people. And I continued to grow. And that's where I had the idea for my current venture, which is Women Empower X, to create a diverse and inclusive community of women who truly value collaboration over competition. A community of women who truly support one another along our journey to achieve our dreams. And my first Women Empower X conference in 2016 had over 1,500 people show up. Thank you. And I didn't know 1,500, like I didn't have that many friends. at all. So it all happened, and I had $0 for marketing. I literally had $2,000 that I took from my savings, and I put it on a down payment at a convention center and ran with the idea. And the way that I marketed it was through social media and public speaking. And again, all I did was share my mission, share my story, and people showed up and told their friends. It grew through word of mouth marketing because my community trusted me and believed in what I was doing. That's the power and taking action. And again, I didn't know how to do any of this. I didn't know how to put on an event. I mean, since 2016, we've hosted countless events around the country, attracting 2,000 to 3,000 women, and I had no clue how to do any of it. But I believed in what I was doing, I believed in the mission, and I took action. And that's been my entire career, has been uncertain, imperfect action. My first business started off with this t-shirt. I was 17 years old, school shopping, and I saw this graphic tee that really stood out to me. And I read the hang tag, and it said their mission was to use fashion to build schools in Africa and help these villages become self-sustainable. So I bought the t-shirt and went home on my family desktop computer and looked up the company and saw Zac Efron, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox all sporting the t-shirt. And I saw that they didn't sell anything but t-shirts and tote bags. So I randomly had this idea, maybe I could design bracelets for them. And so I emailed the contact page, my idea. Never heard back. Emailed again, never heard back. 4 months later, after countless follow-ups, that's another key, follow-up game is real and key, I finally got an email back from the assistant to the founder saying that the founder wanted to set up a conference call with me. I don't know if she knew I was only 17 years old, but I got my journal full of notes and I sold her on my idea. And I became, at 17 years old, the sole licensee to design jewelry for this LA-based fashion company. And later on, I learned that I beat out a lot of different companies that were vying for the license. And she said it was because I sold her on my passion. Again, I didn't know how to do any of this, but I said yes, and then I figured it out. And this led me to getting my first write-up in the press and really learning how to market my business through social media, through content, e-commerce, drop shipping, all of that. I literally designed the hang tags myself on a document, and then I printed them from Office Depot. I hand-strung them through yarn that I got from Michael's, and then I rode my bike after class to ship out the orders. I used what I had to make it happen. Don't worry, I learned how to take a better angled photo since then. But it's all about taking action even if you don't know all of the steps. If you feel called to do something, do it. And all of my most viral content actually happened when it was so unplanned and imperfect. My most viral TikTok just happened in January when I was in Vegas for CES. There was this humanoid there, which is a human-like robot, and everyone was crowding around it. And I was like, oh my goodness, I want to take a selfie with the robot. And their name is Amica. So I took out my Galaxy phone and I literally just said, before I went and took a photo with them, because I don't know, they were like so human, I didn't want to just like go up and take a selfie. So I said, could we take a selfie together? And then once Amica said yes, I literally just turned around and we took a selfie, and that got over 8.2 million views. And I was like, what? It was just me doing what I wanted to do. It was just myself. It was just being vulnerable, and I was nervous, and you could see it in the video. It wasn't perfect lighting. There was so much noise. It was just in the moment I captured something. That's the power in taking action even when all the things aren't set up perfectly, because action creates momentum, and the more you do something, the more you'll figure it out. But the only way to find the answers is through action. And I actually had a chance to do a full interview with Amica. And again, none of it was planned. I literally made up questions on the go. And one of the questions I asked Amica And I was so nervous because they were like so human-like. But anyway, I asked Amika, what's your advice for us humans? And Amika said to be curious because curiosity is what sets you apart from us robots. I know, right? So confusing. You can watch the full interview on my YouTube channel, but it's interesting. I was like, wow, like that is crazy. And that is my last tip is curiosity. I don't think curiosity is talked like about enough because curiosity is what fuels creativity. Curiosity is what fuels resilience. For so long, I was living in so much darkness, and everyone said, as long as you have hope, you could keep on going. But with a chronic illness, with mental health, with ongoing obstacles and challenges, we're always waiting to overcome the obstacle, yet what happens? Another obstacle comes, and we're waiting, and we're trying to find the light at the end of the tunnel, but I never could find that light. And when people said hope, I just felt like that was empty advice. So instead, I exchanged hope with curiosity, and I became so curious to what may happen if I don't give up. If I try one more thing, and I created this idea of the possibility of one. That one thing, one person, one decision could possibly change your life forever. And we've seen that through content creation, right? You know, we see creators that all of a sudden like go completely viral or go from unknown to unforgettable. And yes, it's one thing that they did differently that skyrocketed them, but it was 10 plus years in the making. But we're like, well, I want that one thing. When is that one thing going to happen to me? How can I find that one thing? And the way to discover the possibility of one is to try and to keep trying. I wish there was a different answer, but that is the key. To try and to keep trying. That is the only way that you will discover that one thing. I truly believe that it only takes one. One person, one decision, one action step, one post, one video, one event, one company that could possibly change your life forever. Samsung has been that one for me. But you have to be curious enough to keep on putting yourself out there in order to discover that one. And anytime you feel lost or feel doubtful or the rejection is coming or like this is not working out or imposter syndrome and you feel like giving up, because I know it happens and it happens often, be curious enough to discover what may happen if you put out one more post, one more video, attend one more event, introduce yourself to one more person. Because it only takes one. No one is you, and that is your power. Remember that when you add who you are and what you do, you will always rise above the noise. You are the key to your success. You are the key that's going to help you build a well-known brand, but you have to be courageous enough to share your story. You know, so many times people say, oh, you know, the odds are so against you, right? How many content creators actually become full-time content creators? Or how many businesses fail within the first 5 years? They always say, right, the percentage is so slim. Why are you gonna go after it? But when I was in the hospital, they gave me a 1% chance to live. A 1% chance. Now, if the doctor said, oh, well, the odds are against her, we're just gonna give up now, I would not be here today. The odds do not have to be in your favor because you can decide to put yourself in the 1%. Just decide. Decide that you will be the 1% that make it, the 1% that achieve their dreams. That's all it takes is one decision. Develop that powerful mindset. Be courageous enough and confident in yourself to speak up about what you believe in. Become extremely adaptable. Adapt to the things that you cannot control. Surround yourself with a community who truly supports you. Take massive amounts of action to do what you love and be so curious to what may happen if you don't give up. I truly believe there's so much opportunity that lies ahead for all of you. I'm so excited for your growth. Keep on going after what you love, because it only takes one. And as I always say, this is just the beginning. My name is Alexa Rose Carlin. Thank you so much.